All right, let's bring in Margaret Brennan, who joins us now from the White House. Margaret, we'll get to those comments about Robert Mueller in a moment, but let's begin with the resolution of the tapes issue. What are you hearing from the president's allies about why he even tweeted that in the first place?
I don't know that it's been resolved. You just had the president answer the question that he refused to directly answer for 42 days, which was, why did you say you possibly have tapes and that James Comey should think twice about whether they exist before he talks to the press about his own firing and whether that was related to the Russia investigation. It's still not clear why the president said that. You heard him go to his favorite news program, Fox and Friends, to a favorite journalist that he has praised in the past to offer up his explanation, which you heard him lay out there, that this was in some ways a master plan to get James Comey to testify. On the other side of that, you had the fired FBI director say the reason he went publicly and testified and had leaked his written memos of those accounts, those conversations he had with the president, was with the hopes of getting this fully investigated by a special counsel, because the president's suggestion that there was evidence would compel a case to move forward. So while it looks like James Comey's bet there in calling the president's bluff actually made life more difficult for the president, the White House spin on that from the president himself is that this was all a deliberate plan. I don't know what that actually adds up to that in any way benefits the president. He couldn't directly answer that question. He suggested more reporting needs to be done to explain what really happened here. But frankly, it has made life more difficult for the Trump White House to continue to have this issue, one that they continue to keep putting back in the headlines by talking about it, by tweeting about it. And today, while the president had tried to, in some ways, put to rest part of the controversy about those tapes, he started a new one, as you laid out there, by sort of laying blame or casting aspersions around the credibility of the outside special counsel, Robert Mueller.
So, Margaret, if the president really, if his strategy was to force the former FBI Director James Comey to exonerate the president, and that probably backfired. But the question I guess a lot of people have is, these 41 days that we've been waiting, is there a sense from your sources at the White House that the president may not have, he knows that the press will want to know whether or not there are tapes, and that he may have just been toying with the media, and that's something that his supporters seem to like?
Possibly. Certainly does continue to distract from talking about more substantive issues that the White House communications team claims they want to talk about, which are their agenda items. Forcing the conversation on the shiny object and the statements from the president himself, yes, it's a distraction to the media away from the president's own agenda. I don't know why that would be a strategy to say, stop looking at what we're actually doing, look over here. But that seems to be what the president was suggesting he had planned to do. I can't explain the strategy behind that. You'd have to ask some White House officials if that was deliberate. Frankly, what I think happens here is that, as the president has said himself, he moves in one direction and not all of his team can catch up with him. He says he moves too quickly for them. But I think more broadly, because this continues to complicate this issue and confuse people, frankly, about where the investigation is. Remember, there is one ongoing at the FBI. There is no full end to this story just yet. You get the public tired, and they probably aren't tracking these things the way we are. And so a lot of this nuance gets lost in the noise.
Margaret, we also want to ask you, before you go, the president is saying that special counsel Robert Mueller's friendship with James Comey is, quote, very bothersome, and his team is full of Hillary Clinton supporters. Are there lawmakers on Capitol Hill that share those concerns, or is this just an attempt by the president to discredit Mueller's findings before he releases them?
Well, I can't guess as to what the ultimate strategy is here, but certainly those on Capitol Hill who came out quite publicly right after Robert Mueller was appointed special counsel praised him for his integrity, praised him for his past service to the country as a decorated Marine, as a longtime having served not only in the FBI but also in legal capacities, attorney general's roles, he was really praised for that. That changed recently with the selection, as the president raised in that Fox interview, of his team of lawyers who are working with him. While Robert Mueller in the past had been viewed as in many ways above reproach, they are raising questions about whether he's hiring people with political motives. Questioning and throwing questions out there to undermine the outcome of any investigation certainly is damaging because it's still going on. And I think there's a certain fatigue factor with this story where people aren't tracking it, and so in any real detail way. So certainly you could say, and I'm sure lawmakers would say that to you, that this is harmful to our institutions when you are raising questions about Robert Mueller, when you're raising questions about the motivations of longtime civil servants, whether they're working at the FBI or at other agencies. You will hear that.
All right, Margaret Brennan for us at the White House. Thank you.